So guys, an anti-immigrant group in South Africa has been going to hospitals to prevent foreigners from getting treatment.
If you know yourself that you're not South African, please stand up. Please stand up. Please don't try and stand up right now. Stand up. Sister, are you South African? Are you South African? Because we are going to check everybody. Check them. Please, if you're not South African, come with me. Come. Come with me. Come. Sister, come. Let them go out. You guys are not South African. Go out. You can go to Unjani, Block P there, or Oputila Hospital. Go. Hey, fast. What's Zimbabwe? You run fast and go to the border. Hurry. Madam South African. Please stand up. If you know yourself that you're not South African, all these nurses and doctors, they are here for South Africans. South Africa. Please stand up. Don't try us. What's that? You run fast in the border again.
Wow, that's just one incident, by the way. So apparently this has been happening for months now, especially after a politician, Andrek Lesufi, said that South African hospitals are overflowing with foreigners and that is causing a strain on the hospital and public infrastructure. So the anti-immigrant group is known as Operation Dudula, and they decided to take it upon themselves to go from hospital to hospital, demanding that patients should produce their international passports, and if you're not South African, they threaten to beat you up if you don't leave.
Ngicela i-South African ID esandleni if ungayiphethe. Ngicela ufonele endlini bakuthumezele nge-WhatsApp either uyahamba uyoyilanda.
They were demanding the identity documents of anyone wanting to enter. The organization says immigrants should not benefit from state-funded health facilities. This woman showed her Mozambican passport, and Dudula vigilantes refused to allow her in.
This is not just about whether they are legal or illegal immigrants, by the way. This is about if you're not South African, you don't deserve to get treated in our hospitals.
We don't want any illegal, we don't want any foreigners. It's legal or illegal. We don't want them to get a health service here because our facilities are limited.
Now, keep in mind, I believe that they've been doing this at government hospitals where people are supposed to get free medical care. So they're saying that you don't deserve to get free medical care in our hospital. As for Operation Dudula, this is their argument.
South Africa belongs to South Africa, Zimbabwe belongs to Zimbabweans, Nigeria belongs to Nigeria. We will not be having South Africans sidelined just because we're being told about human rights, which never apply in Zimbabwe.
We are entitled to everything first. Foreigners must go back home and go to their own hospital.
We're trying to protect our facilities in South Africa. We're coming to check the people that are coming in the clinics is original South Africans.
Wow. We don't want South African doctors and nurses to be overwhelmed. We want them to have a great life. We want them to enjoy their free medical treatment. But don't you guys think this is selective racism? There are so many foreigners in South Africa. Is there a reason why the African immigrants are the ones being targeted? I'm not saying that anybody should be targeted at all. I just don't understand why it has to be the black people that are being targeted. So what I don't understand is why the South African government, first and foremost, is allowing the Dudula to continue to do this. I mean, if Ghanaians have been maltreated by Nigerians in Nigeria, the Nigerian government is expected to take action and stop it immediately. So I think the first thing that worries me as a person is the government of South Africa not doing enough to stop these people. I think the government really needs to call them to order. Before even talking about what they're fighting for or why they are fighting, I don't think it is right for the government to look away while this is happening, because guess what? It's affecting a lot of people. It's affecting sick children. They're turning away sick children.
I'm afraid about my baby not getting immunization. What's gonna come? You see, and we don't have money to go to the private clinic because it's too much expensive.
And it's affecting pregnant women. There's a video that I saw of a pregnant woman who's 35 weeks pregnant, supposed to have her baby a month after, and she was turned back simply because she's from Zimbabwe.
This is Susan. She's from Zimbabwe. She's 35 weeks pregnant. She has been turned away from receiving healthcare at the OR Tambo clinic in Diepsloot.
Maybe umntana sikhathi sakhe sokuthi aphume sesifikile mina kumapheni wangijikisa. Izoba inye problem. Maybe ngizobuya lapha endlini, ngithethele endlini, and then angitholanga help. Mina nomntana singakona kushana.
And if you're wondering what the hospitals are doing, or let me say some of the hospitals are doing while this is happening, nothing.
The security at this clinic aren't doing anything to stop these ID checks. They say it's not part of their job description.
Now, I know that so many of you are upset right now with this development. However, I think it's very important to also know that not all South Africans approve of this. In fact, when Operation Dudula protested in July against foreigners and they marched to the office of the Socio-Economic Rights Institute, a lot of human rights organizations in South Africa, we're talking about South Africans, they were there to prevent Operation Dudula from entering that office. Of course, it led to some scuffle, but there are so many South Africans who believe that foreigners are not the problem of South Africa, but corruption in the government of South Africa.
All human rights bodies are doing a good job, and what these guys are doing is wrong.
So they believe that instead of fighting foreigners, that Operation Dudula should focus on the government. Personally, I think that it's a shame. I really think it's a shame for the leaders of many African countries, especially Zimbabwe and the countries around South Africa, and more importantly, the government of Nigeria. I think it's a shame for our government to see how their citizens are being treated all these years in South Africa, because it didn't start today. There has been several xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Not just that, remember the bold Uber drama with Nigerians? And now sick people are being prevented from getting treatment, including pregnant women. And our leaders are still not doing anything. I don't understand. I don't get it, because what else has to happen to your citizens in South Africa before you will care? It's obvious that this thing will not stop. Today, it's sick people that they are targeting. They've actually already announced that starting next year, they will be going into schools, removing children of foreigners from schools, whether they entered the country legally or illegally. If you will not listen to us begging you to fix our countries, shouldn't this convict you and make you want to do the right thing by the people? I mean, if our countries are doing well, I don't think that a lot of these people will be in South Africa. With the way that some of these people are being treated, especially Zimbabweans, I don't think they would want to remain in South Africa if they know that going back home means better opportunity for them. Although, to be honest, who am I kidding? Because we've been maltreated in several countries around the world, and it has not inspired our leaders to care. There are so many Nigerians that have died in Libya. Many of our young people have died in the Mediterranean Sea. They see that news all the time and they're not doing anything. Now, with the South African story, as you guys would notice, and like I mentioned earlier, they are targeting free clinics where the patients are usually not that well to do. It seems to me that poor people like to fight poor people.
Some people are really sick and they don't have money. They need help. So what will happen if someone dies there?
Instead of us coming together to fight the government that makes us poor, we would rather fight each other. So before we point fingers at South Africans for discriminating against us, let's not forget that we're doing the same thing to each other, especially in how we treat the less privileged. I'm pretty sure that by now many of you would have seen the story of a pregnant woman who was rejected by 2 hospitals in Nigeria because she didn't have 28,000 naira. This is a Nigerian woman in Nigeria. And the only reason that we got to know about this woman, by the way, is because of Ondeku Joy. You can find her on TikTok. She was the one that was uploading the video because she was the one that saw this pregnant woman walking by the roadside. And you know what baffles me the most is Asokoro District Hospital, this is a general hospital, asking her to go and get a referral from her previous hospital before they will treat her. You send a heavily pregnant woman to go and get a referral. I mean, why does a woman in labor need referral to have a baby at any facility? When she got to the previous hospital, those ones said that this woman was already in labor.
Did you say she's in labor now? She's in labor like this. I don't want here. Talk to me. No, no. Oh my God. You've not gotten anything for the baby.
And they also did not admit her, by the way. They gave her the referral. And then the Good Samaritan who recorded her video was the one taking her everywhere, by the way. So they went back to Asoko Regional Hospital. Somebody that nurses had already confirmed was in labor. And we saw a video of her struggling to climb stairs at the Asokoro Hospital. And I'm like, how? A pregnant, heavily pregnant woman in labor. Nobody thought to bring her a wheelchair. How? Somebody carrying twins. And then they told them to go and do registration first. Like, hey, God. And then after doing registration and everything, that is when the doctors now told them there was no bed, that they have to go to another hospital. And that was the first time that we see them put her on a wheelchair as she was going downstairs. And they still did not take this woman to another hospital by ambulance. I don't know if it was Uber or Bolt, but the Good Samaritan was the one taking her to another hospital. Guess what happened? When they got to Maitama Hospital, they told them the beds there were also filled up. How many hospitals now? Remember, she had one hospital that referred her to Asokoro. Now Asokoro referred her to Maitama. And now Maitama also said their beds were full. And that is when they went to the National Hospital, where she was finally accepted. They took her in the labor room. And of course, she ended up losing both children. She lost both babies. I can't even tell you how upset I am about this whole story. But guess what they told her? They said both babies had died days ago, even before she went to the hospital.
They said, since I'm feeling as a labor, that I don't have the money to come now, that they have already died inside me for some days. They are beginning to be Jesus.
But how are we supposed to know exactly when the babies died? When they were sending her from hospital to hospital to hospital. Somebody that they should have been monitoring closely for weeks. And I just couldn't help but wonder, if she had been the daughter of any of our politicians, would she have been treated like that? And then again, I was like, what am I talking about? Politicians don't go to general hospitals. And I think that is the problem. Because in other countries, politicians go to the same hospitals that the people that they are representing go to. And so because the doctors and nurses can never tell who is about to come into the hospital, they are always well behaved. The mayor goes to the same hospital like the rest of us do. The lawmakers go to the same hospitals like the rest of us do. When the president is sick in America and in so many other countries, they don't fly them abroad. They don't go to another. In fact, they like taking them to veterans hospital. And so I think that is the biggest problem. The fact that our representatives are not going to the same facilities as the people that they are representing. At the same time though, what happened to the health minister's announcement like 6 months ago that pregnant women with complications will get free treatment?
I hear that you declared free cesarean session for pregnant women.
Yes, free treatment of emergency obstetric complications for women in the empaneled facilities, and that includes cesarean section. So it's not only cesarean section, so emergency obstetric complications, excessive bleeding, of course obstruction, other complications of pregnancy.
I mean, if a woman is carrying twins, isn't that considered a high-risk pregnancy? Because there is an increased chance of complications for both the mother and the babies compared to a singleton pregnancy. I think that it's very important that the health minister is also aware of this story and know that despite the fact that he announced something on national TV, the reality on ground may still be different. But even the doctors and nurses at that hospital, if they are not aware of the government stand, I thought doctors all over the world take an oath to save lives first. They treat them first, questions later. Let me know if this is different in your own country. But in an emergency situation, the first thing to do is save a life. Many people will argue that you can't do that in Nigeria. People will not pay later. And that is why everybody should have health insurance, or we should have universal health care. That's a conversation for another day. But we have something called the National Health Act, which is supposed to provide health insurance for all citizens. But the system still struggles with limited insurance coverage for everybody. So a lot of people still have to pay out of pocket. So it's not just South Africans that are discriminating against us. We also discriminate against ourselves based on status, based on whether somebody is rich or not. Even in the comment section, we still fight each other based on ethnicity, based on religion. That's another thing that I would never understand. These religions were not even our religions to start with. I'm not saying that they are right or they are not right, but we adopted these religions and then we kill each other based on these religions. Isn't that sad? Extremely sad. More importantly, I personally am hoping that other African leaders would at some point have shame and develop their countries. Let me know what you guys think about what's happening in South Africa. Please subscribe if you're here to. Alright, y'all, it's been real and I'm keeping it up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, I will see you later. Peace out.